One of the biggest surprises for people moving to California, especially the Redding area, is how property taxes work. Now, if you've ever heard of Prop 13 or Prop 19 but aren't quite sure what they mean, well, today you're in the right place. Now, these two propositions have a huge impact on homeowners, buyers, and even retirees looking to relocate. Today, we're breaking it all down, how they work, who benefits, and what you need to know if you're looking to buy or sell in Redding or even in the state of California. Hey guys, I'm Faith Barrett, your local guide to everything here in Redding, and welcome back to another episode of Rooted in Redding. If you're new here, this channel is all about not only helping you find a home, but a community to thrive here. Now, if this sounds like something you're interested, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and comment below, especially if you have questions along the way. All right, let's start with Prop 13, which has been shaping how property taxes work in California since 1978. Now, this law was created to protect homeowners from huge jumps in their property tax bills as home values rose. And trust me, with how California real estate has appreciated over the years, this is a really big deal. So here's how it works. When you buy a home, your property tax is based on 1% of the purchase price. So that means if you buy a house here in Redding for $300,000, your base property tax will be about $3,000 per year. But your actual tax bill is just a little higher than that because here in Shasta County, including Redding, there are additional local taxes, voter-approved bonds, and special assessments that are added to that base rate. Now, these help fund things like schools, fire departments, and infrastructures. So depending on where your home is located, your effective property tax rate might actually be closer to 1.1% to 1.2% of your home value. So for example, if you buy the same $300,000 home, you're looking at an annual tax bill somewhere between $3,300 and $3,600, depending on what local assessments are included in your area. Now, if you are living in the home you own, there's actually a way to lower your property tax a little bit. And it's something not every homeowner takes advantage of. And that's called the homeowners exemption. And it gives you a $7,000 reduction in your home's taxable value. That translates to about $70 to $80 in annual tax savings. It's easy to qualify. Just own and occupy the home as your primary residence and file a simple form with the Shasta County Assessor's Office. You only have to file it once and it automatically renews every year. Just make sure to get it in by February 15th to get the full benefit for that tax year. Now, there are some other exemptions to Prop 13 that you can look into, like exemptions for disabled veterans, as well as disaster relief. And that disaster relief exemption really allows homeowners to rebuild damaged properties without triggering reassessments. Now, one of the biggest perks of Prop 13 is that your property tax bill won't just suddenly skyrocket just because your home values are increasing. Your assessed value can only go up by a max of 2% per year, no matter how much your home appreciates. That's why longtime homeowners in California tend to have much lower property tax bills than newer buyers. Now, before we move on, I do want to say I am not a tax professional. I help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. When it comes to your specific tax situation, I always recommend chatting with a licensed tax professionalist or even calling the Shasta County Assessor's Office to get your questions answered. Now, let's talk about Prop 19, which went into effect in California on February 16th of 2021. Now, this law made two major changes, one that benefits certain homeowners and one that's been a big adjustment for families inheriting properties. First, the good news. If you're 55 or older, severely disabled, or a victim of a natural disaster, Prop 19 allows you to transfer your existing low property tax base to a new home anywhere in California. You can now do this up to 3 times in your lifetime instead of just once. Now, if the new home is of equal or lesser value, your tax basis stays the same. If it's more expensive, your tax rate only increases based on the difference in price. So this can save you thousands of dollars a year in property taxes. Just keep in mind you must file your claim within 2 years of purchasing or completing new construction on your replacement home. Now, here's where things got tougher for families inheriting properties. So before Prop 19, if a parent passed down their home, the child could keep the same low tax rate even if they rented it out or sold it. That no longer is the case. Now, to keep the low tax base, the inherited property must become the child's primary residence within 1 year, and the tax benefit is capped at that home's assessed value plus $1 million. So if the home is worth more than that, anything over that limit gets reassessed at market rates. Now, there are a few exceptions under Prop 19 where the reassessment may not happen. Number one is primary resident transfers. So if a child moves into the inherited home, like we talked about, and files a claim within 1 year, they can keep the lower tax basis. Number two is children under 18, disabled, or in the military. And if the inheriting child meets these criteria, the reassessment can be delayed. And number three is family farms. If the inherited property is a working family farm, it can actually avoid reassessment. And number four is disaster victims. Homeowners who lost their home in a wildfire, earthquake, or other natural disaster can transfer their tax basis with no location restrictions. So to qualify for these exemptions, you must file the correct paperwork, specifically here in our area at the Shasta County Assessor's Office. Now, like I said, Prop 19 is a mixed bag. It's great for older homeowners and disaster victims who want to move without a major tax hike. But for families inheriting the property, it does become much harder to keep that low tax rate unless, like I said, they're planning to live in the home. That means that we may see more family homes hit the market instead of being passed down. So just to remember, the Prop 13, the Prop 19, the things that we're talking about is here in the state of California. So if you own a home in, let's say, Texas, and you're moving to California, your property tax does not transfer from Texas to California. It is only within the state. So definitely keep that in mind. And like I said, I am not a tax professional, so always seek your specific tax situation with a licensed professional. All right, I hope this episode was super helpful as we broke down Prop 13 and Prop 19. And hopefully this helped make sense of California's property tax laws, especially if you're coming from a new area, or even if you're moving from down south up here and you want to take advantage of Prop 19. If you have any questions about how this affects the real estate here and something that maybe we didn't cover in the video, please drop some comments below. Would love to help out. Thanks so much for tuning into this week's episode of Rooted in Redding. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment below if you have any questions that I could help answer. And as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as we post weekly content about Redding and the real estate market as a whole. We will see you next week.